All right, let's dive into something pretty wild today. We're going to crack open a vault that you'd think is just full of dusty, old official papers. But buried deep inside the U.S. National Archives are some of the absolute strangest documents you could ever imagine. I'm talking declassified reports on flying saucers, all the way to official government rules for hunting a mythical beast.
So, that really brings up the question, right? What happens when science fiction smashes right into official government files? It sounds like the tagline for a movie, but as you're about to see, the line between what's fantasy and what's a declassified record is, well, it's way blurrier and a whole lot weirder than you probably think.
And look, this isn't about diving into conspiracy theories. Not at all. This is about official, documented government projects. We're talking taxpayer dollars, your money and mine, being spent to fund actual investigations into the great unknown. It's all on paper.
That's right. For more than 20 years, the United States Air Force had an official, honest-to-goodness, ongoing mission to investigate thousands of reports of unidentified flying objects, or, as they first called them, flying discs. And trust me, they took this stuff very, very seriously.
Now, the most famous of all these investigations was a project with a name that sounds like it's straight out of a spy novel, Project Blue Book. This was the government's big public-facing effort to catalog, analyze, and try to make sense of this whole UFO phenomenon.
And, this wasn't just some flash in the pan. The whole thing kicked off as Project Sign way back in 1947. Then it morphed into Project Grudge, and finally, in 1952, it was relaunched as the huge undertaking we know as Project Blue Book, which ran all the way until 1969. That's 22 years of continuous official UFO hunting.
And the sheer scale of what they were dealing with, it was just staggering. Over the life of the project, they logged a grand total of 12,618 sightings. Think about that. That averages out to more than one report coming in every single day for 22 straight years.
But this number right here, this is the one that really keeps the mystery alive. Out of all those thousands upon thousands of cases, 701 of them completely defied explanation. Even with the Air Force's top experts, with radar data, with all their investigative power, these cases just remained unidentified.
So here's how it all breaks down visually. You could look at this and say, hey, they explained over 94% of the cases. And yeah, that's true, they did. But that other little slice, that 5.6%, that represents those 701 incidents that just didn't fit any conventional explanation. And those are the files that continue to absolutely fascinate people to this day. Okay, but the story gets even stranger, if you can believe it. While the Air Force was out there publicly investigating unidentified flying objects, it was secretly, behind the scenes, trying to build its very own, you could call it an identified flying object.
And what's just amazing to me is where they got the idea. According to the archive's own records, this top-secret project took direct inspiration from the sci-fi movies of the 50s, the very same movies that were making flying saucers a pop culture phenomenon. It's this incredible case of life imitating art, fueled by that intense Cold War pressure to out-innovate the other guy.
The official name for it was Project 1794. And the goal? Well, it was to create a circular, disc-shaped aircraft that could take off and land vertically and then just blast off to insane supersonic speeds. Yeah, they were literally trying to build a real-life flying saucer. And the key thing here is just how ridiculously ambitious this project was. The performance goals they were shooting for were mind-blowing. A top speed of Mach 4, that's 4 times the speed of sound, a ceiling of over 100,000 feet, which is right there on the edge of space, and of course that vertical takeoff and landing, or VTOL. I mean, these are specs that would be considered cutting edge today, let alone back in the 1950s. But the government's fascination with the unexplained wasn't just limited to the skies. Oh no. In a twist that is just truly bizarre, the official paper trail takes us from UFOs in the air to something mysterious lurking in the snow.
And I promise you, I am not making this up. This is a real document. In 1959, the American Embassy in Kathmandu, Nepal, sent an official dispatch back to the Department of State in Washington, and the subject line? Official regulations for any expedition that wanted to go hunt for the abominable snowman, the Yeti. It was basically a diplomatic memo to manage all the adventurers running around.
The rules themselves are just wonderfully specific. Okay, so first you had to pay a permit fee of 5,000 rupees. Fair enough.
Second, and this is the incredible part, you could photograph the Yeti, you could even capture it alive, but you were forbidden to kill it unless it was in self-defense. And third, any evidence you found, any photos or, the actual creature, had to be handed over immediately to the Nepalese government.
Let's just pause on that for a second. This is an official government document laying out the rules of engagement for a creature from folklore. It's such a surreal and fascinating peek into a time when it felt like the world was still full of these huge, undiscovered possibilities. So what do we do with all this strange history? Well, here's the cool part. These investigations aren't totally in the past. The National Archives is actually asking for the public's help to make these old files accessible to everybody, which means you can actually become part of the investigation. Is this awesome thing called the transcription mission. See, the archives has scanned all the original Project Blue Book case files, and now citizen archivists, that means you, can go online and help transcribe them. You get to read the original witness reports, the official letters going back and forth, and the final Air Force analysis, helping bring these strange stories to a whole new generation.
Now, as you're going through these, you're going to see the word sanitized a lot. It's simple. It just means that to protect the privacy of the people who reported these things, the Air Force blacked out personal details like names and addresses. But the core of the report, what they saw, where they saw it, and the official conclusion, it's all there for you to read.
And that really brings us to the final big question, doesn't it? We've seen official hunts for UFOs, top secret plans for government-built flying saucers, and even diplomatic rules for finding a Yeti. If this is the kind of strange history that's already come to light, it just makes you wonder, what other bizarre, unbelievable secrets are still out there, just sitting in a box, waiting for someone to find them?